Hi everyone. So I have 1:30 on my clock. So I think we'll get started. We'll let people kind of pop in as they can. I'm Angie. I'm the continuing education coordinator here at the North Dakota State Library. Just have a couple of small housekeeping things before we get started. All of the participants are muted. If you have any questions, please use the chat feature to ask those questions. And the webinar will be recorded, and I'll be sending out a link to the recording shortly after, either sometime this afternoon or sometime tomorrow morning. So without further ado, I'd like to turn your attention to Sabrina Richardson, who is our representative from Mango Languages. Take it away, Sabrina.
Thank you so much, Angie. Hi, everybody. First, I would like to start by thanking you all for taking some time out of your afternoons to do a little overview of Mango with me. We had a lot of changes happen last year, so definitely appreciate you guys all taking time to make sure that you're up to speed. So today we're going to take a look at how to just at like the key features of the product, how to navigate things from a user's point of view, and just a nice overview of all that is available from Mango. We are also going to highlight some of our specialty courses and our ESL courses as well, because those are two great aspects that unfortunately get forgotten a lot. So so without further ado, we will go ahead and get started. There will definitely be time at the end for questions, but as Angie said, if anything comes up, definitely feel free to throw it in the chat feature and feel free to interrupt at any point and we can answer those. So right now, what we are looking at is just the Mango Language homepage. This is what you'll see if you go to mangolanguages.com. And I just wanted to start here because we have a great overview of all of the languages that are available with Mango. So if you click on languages at the top, it'll give you a nice overview of our top most popular languages. But if you scroll down, we have everything separated alphabetically. So you can see we've got quite a few options. With Mango, there are over 70 world languages to choose from, as well as over 20 ESL programs. And within those courses, we also have some additional specialty courses. So those specialty courses are noted with this little lightning bolt thing here. And so you can see there's a really great range of things that are available. So in addition to just the general conversational piece of Mango, which is the main component, some of these specialty courses focus on things like learning how to communicate in a legal setting, a medical setting, maybe a business setting. We also have Spanish for librarians. So there are some great options that are helpful for professional development. There are also some great cultural aspects that make it kind of more fun to promote the product, also more fun to kind of connect with everyday things that are going on in people's lives. So we have, for example, like a soccer celebration course for Spanish. We have St. Patrick's Day for Irish, as well as a wine and cheese course for French. So we will take a look at a couple examples of these as we're going through the program, but I just wanted to start by giving you all a nice overview of everything that is available. So as I mentioned, in addition to the 70 world languages, we also have over 20 ESL courses as well. So for these ones, as you can see here, we have the names written out in both English and the mother script. So the products themselves are actually completely narrated and written in the native language. So this is fantastic for people who are trying to improve their English skills, no matter what level they're at. Since it is completely narrated in the native language, even if you're someone who's at the very, very beginning level, you'll be able to navigate through the course. So again, we'll take a look at everything, but I just wanted to give you all a nice overview of what all is currently available. So with those specialty courses, the nice benefit of those is that they do offer additional content with specific vocabulary and more cultural insights. But we also have Mango movies for some of our more popular languages as well. So these Mango movies, we have them separated by the recommended age groups. And the nice part about these is these are full-length, authentic foreign films that we have taken our methodology and applied to. So learners can choose to either just sit back, relax, and enjoy a film as if they were watching Netflix and have subtitles on it. But you also have the option to get a little bit more interactive and actually play with some of the features that we are going to take a look at. So with that being said, I am going to log into an existing account that we have just so that we can take a look at everything that's there. But the process for logging into Mango or for creating a profile for new users, it's exactly the same whether they are accessing it here from the Mango language homepage, whether you're going from the library's website, accessing via a mobile app, wherever you go, it's going to be exactly the same. New users will be prompted to create a profile using their email address and a password, and you'll then be able to link to the library that is closest to you that offers Mango so that you can get free access to everything. But I am going to go ahead and log in real quick. And so for new users who are just creating their profiles for the very first time, the first thing that they will be prompted to do is to select the language that they would like to learn. That's the language that it will take you into, but you can choose any language and jump back and forth between as many as you want, as frequently as you want. So you can see here in this menu, it does pull up my most recent languages that I've been looking at. It'll then show the popular languages, and then it will show everything alphabetically. So, when you choose your language, once you start, you're not locked into it. You are able to play around and check out a couple other things. So for today's lesson, we're going to take a look at the French course. Before we actually dive into the program, just to kind of give you all an overview of the interface and kind of where you can access everything. So up at the top here is where you'll see which language you are in. As we just saw, if you click on it, that's where it will pull out this bar where you can switch the language if you would like. The Learn tab is where you will find the key chunk of all of the language learning material. We break that down into the main units. So here we have it broken down into 5 chapters, and within each chapter there are a couple different lessons. For any of the courses that do have specialty courses, we also have those separated right down here into specialty units. So for French, we've got wine and cheese, there's the romance course, as well as a French argot slang course. This Explore tab, so for any of the languages that do have films available, this is where you would go to access Mango Premiere. So you can click on that, you can see the movies, as well as you'll quickly see the rating. You can also click more info to get a nice little synopsis of the plot and kind of just get an overview of what you would see before actually diving into it. And then here in the Tools tab, we just have a nice quick little translation tool. So this here is very similar to what you would find on Google Translate. It comes in handy most often when going through the different lessons that are conversationally based. So if you want to swap in different vocab words, this makes it nice and easy to go in and kind of customize the kind of sentences that you yourself are wanting to focus on. So we will take it from the top from here just to take a look at the setup of the lessons and all of the key features. So I am going to go to Chapter 1, Lesson 1 of French. At the start of each chapter, you will see an overview of the conversational goals and the grammar goals, just so that you can get an overview of what you can look forward to accomplishing as you move throughout the chapter. The next slide, you're going to hear a conversation between 2 native speakers in that language.
This chapter will teach you to have delightful conversations like this. Tiens, bonjour. Ça va?
Ça va bien, merci. Et vous?
Très bien, merci.
Il fait froid aujourd'hui.
Oui, en effet.
Bon, à tout à l'heure.
Oui, au revoir. À tout à l'heure. Don't worry if the conversation seemed difficult. We'll lead you through it part by part.
All right. So yeah, as the narrator just said, I know this could be a little intimidating for someone who is new to the language, but we use the break it down, build it back up method. So we give you the entire conversation, one, so that you can hear it from 2 different perspectives, get, different voices, pronunciations in there, and also just so you can kind of get an overview of the cadence, how things sound, and what you can look forward to learning throughout the chapter. So moving on to another slide, this next one will be an example of how we start teaching you the conversation bit by bit.
When you say,
Tiens, bonjour. Ça va?
you are saying, oh, good morning. How are you? But it's literally translated as, hold it, good morning. How's it going?
All right, so this slide here does a really great job at highlighting all of the key features that you'll find throughout the lesson. So one of the first things that should pop out for you are all the different colors. We use what we call semantic color mapping to easily highlight exactly which words line up in the target language and in the source language. So it helps with looking at the sentence structure of the language, as well as identifying which words match with which. So if you need to hear the narrator pronounce the sentence again, you can click on the little green microphone icon in the center. Another cool feature, if you hover over it, we will also give you a phonetic pop-up that will show how you pronounce all of the words in the sentence.
Tiens, bonjour, ça va?
To get a little bit more in depth, you can also go word by word. So you can click on and hover over each individual word to get the pronunciation for that one, and the narrator will also pronounce it at a slower, more articulated rate.
Tiens, bonjour, ça va?
To help with pronunciation even more for those that want to really take it to the next level and make sure that you are really comfortable with pronouncing everything, we also have our voice comparison feature. So if you click on this, you can listen to the narrator say it again.
Tiens, bonjour, ça va?
And then you can record yourself saying the sentence. And bonjour, ça va? So then it's going to pull up a little sound graph that you can slide around to line up as best as you want. French is definitely not my strong suit, so I can already see that my pacing's kind of off, but when looking at the pronunciation, I can either play just the narrator's recording, I can play just my own, or you can play them both simultaneously.
Tiens, bonjour, ça va?
So we call this one the world's most patient tutor because you can literally go in and do this over and over and over again on any of the slides to make sure that you really are comfortable with your pronunciation of the words and sentences. Another cool feature that we include as well is our literal and understood meaning. So sometimes with language learning, things can get a little funky and words don't always translate directly. So for situations like that, we want to make sure that you understand what is understood when you're saying the sentence, but also what the words literally translate to. So in situations where things might be, irregular, or if the sentence structure makes things a little bit different, we will pop in with these literal and understood notes just to make sure that you really are getting an in-depth understanding of the translation. Another way that we also try to help out with making sure that you understand the nuances of the conversations is we also have conversation notes and grammar notes. So I'm going to slide ahead a little bit so that we can find an example of those. So this one here is an example of a cultural note that will be popping in throughout different portions of the different lessons.
Tiens
is a colloquial way to express a slight surprise and comes from the verb to hold.
tenir.
Many expressions in French wouldn't mean much when literally translated. For instance,
Ah tiens, ça va?
translates to, oh, hi there, how are you? We don't actually ask the person to hold anything.
So these are just fun little notes that will pop in, again, for anything that might be culturally specific to a language that new learners might not be familiar with, just things to make you more comfortable using this in an everyday setting. You will also see grammar notes pop up periodically. So these grammar notes are great for helping to come in and reiterate things about the grammar for things that might be irregular, or just to explain things that might not be intuitive.
You can be translated by
Tu,
or
vous,
in French,
tu,
is informal and used only with well-known acquaintances.
vous,
Is the polite way to say you when speaking to strangers. We use it all the time in restaurants, shops, etc., to be respectful.
And so just like all the other texts throughout the program, we do want it to be as interactive as possible. So whenever, there are words that are being highlighted, discussed, explained, you will also be able to hover over those to get that phonetic pronunciation. And then if you click on it,
vous,
you'll hear the narrator pronounce it. So once you get through to the end of a lesson,
How do
you will have the option to either restart it or to just jump right on into the next lesson. But Mango is a nonlinear program, so you don't have to complete lesson 1 in order to move on to lesson 2. You can back out and kind of jump around and explore as much as you want to. So if you are someone who maybe did French in high school and are kind of just getting back into it, if level 1 felt a little bit easy, you could just dive right into chapter 3 and get started there. A couple other features that were actually added last year that we're all pretty excited about are our listening and our reading activity. So since these are new right now, we currently only have these available for our top 9 languages. But basically, they are designed to both reinforce the information that is being taught throughout the chapter, as well as introduce a couple new vocab words and concepts. So the content that you will find in the listening and the reading activities are exactly the same. However, they are introduced to the learner in different modes so that you're able to practice your listening skills and your reading skills individually. So we'll take a look at those real quick. All right, so similar to the courses, you will get a nice little overview of what you can look forward to accomplishing with this activity. And then when you hit start, so on the left-hand side, this is where you will get the actual listening passage. So for the reading activity, which we will take a look at, you will see the reading passage. On the right-hand side is where we have our questions. So the learner has the option to either go through and answer the questions simultaneously while they are completing the activity, or you can do it, listen to the entire passage, and then go answer the questions. It's totally customizable, whatever the user wants to do, it's totally up to you. Up here at the top, we do give you an overview of all of the words that you will be exposed to in this passage. We also specify that 32 of them are unique, so it will take into account for words like the, it, things like that that are repeated a lot. And we'll also introduce a couple new words. So you can get a preview of the new words that you'll see by clicking on this little plus sign. It will pull out a vocabulary list, and so you'll see the word in the language that you're learning. You'll see the phonetic pronunciation of it, as well as the translation. And then if you click on it,
Vivement.
you'll hear it pronounced at a nice, slow, articulated rate so that you can become familiar with it before you hear it in the passage. So with the passage here, you have the option to either go through, if you click on this big blue circle down at the bottom, it will play through the entire passage, or you can go in and just play it line by line.
Tiens, salut Paul, ça va?
Something else too, so if you are a learner who's a little bit newer to it and not quite confident in your listening skills, you can also turn on the text so that you can see it. And similarly to how you can play either the entire passage or go through line by line, you can either turn on just one line or you can turn on the text for everything. So so once you listen to it, you'll go in and select the answer to the question, and it will give you automatic feedback. So if you got it right, it will explain that for you. If you get it wrong, it will tell you why. Let's see, I'm going to just skip the rest of these so we can take a look. And once you complete the entire questions, it'll give you a nice overview. So it'll show you the percent that you got correct, the number that you got correct, and then you can click see answers, and it will specifically show you what you chose, what the right answer is, or if it's a question that you skipped, it will just give you the correct answer there. It also breaks it down in terms of percentage for if you got the main idea questions right, the inference questions, or the detail. So you can further kind of get an idea of exactly what you want to focus on as you were doing these activities. We also make the vocab words nice and easy to access again. You can click that and it will pull up this vocab list for you again. So for here, if we hit next, it's going to take me into the review activity. So we are going to put that one on the back burner for just 1 second so I can go in and show you an example of what the reading looks like. So how I mentioned, it's pretty similar, nice and consistent with the listing activity. But for this one here, you only get the reading of it. So you can hover over the words to see that phonetic pronunciation. For the new words, if you hover over it, it will give you the translation. And then, of course, if you click on them,
Mais, vivement.
it will give you that pronunciation. So as you're practicing through these activities, you can really continue to get as in-depth as you choose with all of the vocab. So before I do jump into the review activity, does anyone have any questions so far or any of those features that we would like to take a look at again? Okay, and I don't see anything in the chat, so I will keep moving, but if anything does come up, definitely feel free to jump in. So while these listening and reading activities are only available for our top 9 languages, we've recently added a review feature for all of our languages. So with this review feature, the algorithm is designed to pull out key vocabulary words or key phrases as you're going through the lessons and reintroduce them to you at different intervals to kind of help prevent the forgetting curve. So before you start the lesson, of course, we like to give you an idea of what you're getting yourself into. So you can see a list of all of the cards that are up for review. And if you click on them, it will give you detail there. But once you start
What's the way to say, yes, I'm in?
So it's very similar to in our lesson, you'll notice that semantic color mapping, it'll give you notes as to, details about who's asking the question. And when you hit see answer,
Oui, je suis partante.
you'll see all the features. So again, if you hover over this, you'll get that phonetic pronunciation. If you click on it,
Partante.
you'll hear it pronounced nice and slowly. We've got the understood meaning and the literal meaning, as well as the voice comparison feature. So all of the things that you've been exposed to as you're going through the lessons will be here in the review section. So you can either say that you got the card right if you are comfortable with it.
Now try and say, cheese calls for red wine.
Qui dit fromage dit rouge.
If you get the answer wrong, you can hit no, and it will keep it in this deck for today so that you can keep reviewing it until you get it right. For cards that you say that you did get right, it will slowly introduce it to you less and less frequently until you mark that it's been memorized. And to mark that it's memorized, you can click on this little trophy down here in the corner. And when you hit memorize, it will completely remove the card from the deck so that you don't have
How
to
do you
keep,
say,
oops.
Oh, good morning.
Sorry about that. It will completely remove it from the deck so that you don't have to keep looking at something that you're already comfortable with. So this is a really, really great feature that helps customize the program to each individual learner, because it's going to start picking up on your learning patterns and see what types of sentences or things like that you tend to need more practice to, and it will make sure to support you with that, as opposed to just getting stuck on the same basic stuff that everybody else is stuck on. So that pretty much sums up the key features of Mango and everything that we just took a look at too. It is available whether you're accessing the program via desktop or via mobile app. So Mango's got free apps to download for Android, iPhone, tablets, whatever kind of mobile device you have. And you will be able to log in and access everything here just the same. So to take a look, I just want to show you all somewhat of the specialty courses to get an idea of how those are. So we're going to take a look at the wine and cheese course for French. So it's, set up really similarly to where you've got the chapter with the different lessons. If you go to number 1, we've got the grammar goals and the conversation goals, and then it will also play the conversation for you.
Listen to the following conversation.
Ça te dit si on prend un verre de vin et une planche de fromage? Oui, je suis partante. Alors, qui dit fromage dit rouge, non? Oui, mais moi j'aime bien les vins qui ont de la cuisse. Et moi je préfère le fromage de chèvre au fromage de vache coulant. Oh, mais c'est quoi cette odeur? C'est abominable, ça empeste. Ah ça doit être le camembert. Ok, alors, tout ce que tu veux, mais surtout pas ça.
So again, as you can see, it's nice and consistent and uniform in terms of the features and what the lessons are like. But these specialty courses are really great for someone like, for example, say you really, really love French wine and French cheese, and maybe you want to be able to better communicate about that, but you're not up to taking on the whole task of actually learning how to speak French. So these are great for people who have particular interest or, just want to kind of build up a specific vocab situation. Another thing I would like to show you all in depth is what the ESL courses actually look like and how navigating those go. So for anyone who is looking to use Mango to learn English, for the language you want to learn, first you would choose English. And then it's going to bring up a list of all of the different languages that we offer the English course in. So for example, if you are a Chinese Mandarin speaker, you would then select your mother tongue and it will direct you to that page. And as you can see, it is completely written and narrated in the Chinese script. So the setup of the program is exactly the same. Again, we really try to make everything as nice and seamless as possible. So all of the features like the voice comparison, the quiz slides, the culture notes, the grammar notes, all of those will be present in these lessons. They're just completely written and narrated in that mother tongue. So it makes it nice and easy for people no matter what level they're at. So that pretty much is Mango Languages in a nutshell. I know we went through that pretty quickly. Angie, did you see any questions come up in the chat, or is there anything else that you would like us to take a deeper look into right now?
A question just came up. Are there movies for ESL?
There are a couple. So like right now, it does look like we do have a couple for the ESL Mandarin, the one that we're in. These ones are all geared towards a younger audience. So I don't know, if how helpful they would be for everyone, but there are a couple. I do know for a fact that for the ESL Spanish course, there are a couple, because that one's one of our more developed ones. So we've gotten more requests for that. So we have a couple additional things available for that one. Let's take a look. So yeah, okay, so for this one, it looks like there's a lot more of the little fixies one for kids, but it looks like there are a couple films for ESL for Spanish, and then there might be a couple for French as well, too. We can take a look at that. But another nice thing to keep in mind too is the way that our team decides on what to build out next is by what our users are requesting. So, for example, we didn't really have too many films available for ESL Mandarin. It looks like we don't have any for ESL for French. So if anyone's ever in the library speaking with anyone who is specifically asking for something that we don't have, definitely send those things our way, because our team really does appreciate that feedback, and it helps them in deciding on what comes next. Another quick thing too that I just realized I didn't touch on is the family profiles. So if you click on your name in the upper right hand corner, this is where you can go in and manage your profile. So if you need to change your password, for example, you can click this one here, and that's where you can edit all of your personal information. You're also allowed to link your profile with multiple different institutions. So like in North Dakota, for example, the entire state has access. So, I guess no matter where you go, you'd be able to get access. But say you start off in North Dakota, you have an account there. And then if you move to another state or another city, and there's another library there that offers Mango, you can link your profile so that you don't have to worry about losing any of your progress. And then of course you can also check your activity too. So you can go in and get a nice overview of specifically what lessons you learned, what activities you did, and how long you were in there. But for every profile that's created, you can also add up to 5 family profiles. So this is great for families who might all be interested in learning a language together, but maybe there are some children who don't have an email address yet and, might not be able to create their own profile. So with the family profiles, it's all housed under one, but everyone can have their own login. So you can also have your own individual language learning experience. So if 2 people are learning Spanish, they don't have to worry about losing their place when the other person logs in. You don't have to worry about sharing credentials or anything like that. So, yeah, I know I kind of got off rails there, though. Did any other questions come up, or did we want to check out to see a couple other languages to see if there are films available there?
I have a question on the family profile.
Absolutely.
With that, would each family member be required to have a library card, or will it all be housed under whoever creates the original profile?
Yeah, that's a great question. So no, it would just be housed under the one person who does have the profile. So, similar to how I use the example of if the younger kids don't have their own email addresses, you wouldn't have to worry about getting every single person in your family a card. As long as the one person that creates the initial profile has theirs, then everybody else, it's as simple as just making a username and a password, and then you're in. You can go in and get started.
Great, thank you. I do have there isn't another one in chat, but I have another one.
Yeah, absolutely.
For the movies, I was looking at them, and they have viewing rights to them. Are they all different viewing rights? So, for example, could a library show one of these movies to a large group of people?
That's a good question. I believe so. So since it is part of the resource that the library is subscribing to, I believe that it would be okay. It's just as if you have Mango posted for anyone to come in and use. But let me read, I'm always hesitant in the legal world because I don't want to speak on something that I'm not completely confident with. So let me double check with our legal team and send you an email if that's okay to confirm 100%.
Yep, that works for me.
Okay, awesome. But I'm going to assume that if they put it in the program, to be facing, I'm pretty sure that they've crossed all of those T's and dotted all of those I's to make sure that it is fine. Because I know that with some of our academic institutions that we partner with, we do have some instructors who will use those films in class and show them to all of their students there. So, I feel like that those situations are pretty similar. And I do think that that's something that they've, taken care of everything on the back end to make sure all is well.
Great. And yeah, they are very similar, just like group sizes are different. So
Right. So that's
same
why
type of agreement.
exactly. Yeah. So I'm like fairly confident, but I will definitely make sure that I get a concrete answer for you, and I will absolutely send that over to you as soon as I get it.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions? Or, we have a ton of different languages. We've got a pirate course if anyone wants to check out something kind of silly or anything else we'd like to take a dive into.
I am not seeing anything else come up.
Okay, well, hopefully everyone found it helpful. Hopefully the nice overview was useful in terms of seeing what to expect, see all that's available. And, I'm trying to, like, a couple other tidbits too. So with the mobile apps, that's actually one of the only difference between the mobile apps and the desktop ones is that the movies currently are not available on the mobile app. Right now, we're trying to work on getting everything with that flipped from Flash to HTML5. So keeping my fingers crossed that at some point that will be something that can happen. But for now, the movies are only available on desktop. But the mobile apps do have a couple additional features in that it is Bluetooth accessible. And we also have an autoplay feature. So if you're someone who's interested in hands-free learning, if you, are on the road a lot, driving a lot, or someone who does a lot of airplane travel where you don't always have Wi-Fi, on your mobile device, you can download the lesson so that you don't need an internet connection. And then you can turn on that Bluetooth and that autoplay mode, and it will scroll through the audio portion of the lesson, similar to an audiobook. So that's another cool thing that could come in handy for some people.
I would like to point out to everyone as well, though, we do have a tutorial on the State Library's YouTube page on how to sign up for Mango. It takes you through all the screenshots of what it will look like, because I know it's a little jarring when it doesn't take you to your library's page right away.
Yeah, definitely a good heads up. And you know what? And we also have a really great customer support team that is almost always on standby. So right up here, if you click on support, we have a support page where we have a lot of FAQs that have like screenshots, links, and things like that. But if you are struggling, you can throw in, just write something to them. They receive it via email. And then, if it's something, they can reach out to us directly, and we can make sure that if you are having trouble getting linked with your library, or if it's prompting you to pay or something crazy like that, we can definitely, make sure that we're able to get everyone in smoothly.
I think what I'll do is we'll end the webinar here, but I will include your email, Sabrina, in the email I send out, if that's all right with you. So
Yes.
if you have any questions as they're exploring, then they can reach out to you for that. Or, you can always contact the State Library, and we're here to help.
Yeah, no, that sounds perfect. Yeah, definitely feel free to pass that on. And if anyone, like you said, if any questions come up, if anyone would like another walkthrough, we can, I'm definitely here to help. Just let me know.
All right, perfect. Thank you for your time today, Sabrina.
No problem. Thank you, Angie, for getting everything together and, putting all this up and making it run so smoothly.
You are very welcome. Have a good day.
You as well. Bye-bye.
Bye.